PKP evolved out of the work that began in the 60s and 70s with people in America wanting to learn something that they could do for themselves and their families. And Touch for Health was developed by the American chiropractor John Thie as an extension of applied kinesiology that could be used at home by people safely, so they could reduce their medical bills. It made a lot of sense at the time in America with the healthcare costs soaring. And PKP organically grew out of that because it was the desire of some of the practitioners of Touch for Health that they could be a professional and they could take care of other people and perhaps earn a living at this. And it's now taught in a whole series of levels, from a basic self-care certificate to a fully fledged diploma in kinesiopractic. So we've gone full circle from being practitioners of taking care of ourselves and families with Touch for Health to being professionals who can take care of others.
With the help of my wife Joan, who's a tertiary education teacher, we developed a series of workshops and our own process that we called PKP. And the name PKP for some people is professional kinesiology practice. For others, it's participatory kinesiology profession. For others, it's the phenomenon of kinesiology in practice. Because it describes what kinesiology is actually doing. We're living in a day and age where we get excited in medicine when we find the gene for dyslexia or the gene for ADHD. And it's almost as if when we found the gene for this thing, we're saying, this person is predestined to have that particular problem. And yet modern research is showing us that gene expression is very, very important. And so genes can be turned on and genes can be turned off. And one of the things we know with kinesiology is that we can help the person make the shifts in their lives that turn genes on and off.
A lot of kinesiologies developed out of Touch for Health. We're not the only one. And we've all gone in different directions, which has been very exciting for the field. There have been so many different things you can do using muscle testing as a tool for finding where the stress is in the body. PKP has developed more along an energy model in that we're not treating a particular symptom or a particular disease. People will come to us with a problem and we look at the context of their life to find how that problem is affecting their movement and how they're moving in relation to their health challenges or their problem with their husband or their mother-in-law or whatever it is. And so we look at how they can move. And once you can involve the body in that conversation, you're getting a whole new dialogue than you would be doing if you were doing counselling or if you were doing head therapy or coaching. It's more than that. It's the combination of the body and the mind, as well as the spiritual and soul aspects of what the person is doing, which seems to create such a huge shift. So the person would come with a problem, but then we won't just focus on the problem. We're actually going to look at the context of that problem. So it's a phenomenological approach. That's what that really means, that it's a contextual thing, that we're looking at the person in the context of their life, and we work that way. And another difference is it's very participatory. The person who comes for a session is not lying on the table having a treatment. It's not something that you receive. You don't receive a PKP treatment. You come and you are involved from the get-go in exploring what your story is about. So it's about understanding more about your own story, your own life story. And then, if necessary, going back into that. I was explaining it to somebody else. It's a bit like a tapestry, your life, and you weave your life as you live it. But PKP gives you an opportunity to have a look where you've dropped a few stitches, and you can go back and rework those stitches or change the colour or do what you want. But you're doing it not just with the head. You're not just doing this with the theory and the counselling and the mental aspects, but you're actually involving the body. With PKP, you can find out where, with other kinesiologies too, you can find where the body is holding the problem and incorporate that part of the body in the solution so that the body is actively involved and the person is joining in the whole enterprise. It's quite exciting when it happens.
A big testimonial would be a man who had 3 children at home, teenage children, sore back, couldn't go to work, get home, lie on the couch, do nothing. He came in for a half an hour it just was one of those hooks. It just caught, strengthened some muscles in his back, and he's been good now for 6 years. He came back to me just last week, was feeling sort of some of those inhibitions, and he actually bought a boat right after that and took his children water skiing in 1.5 hour session, so that's good.
It certainly does work in harmony with other complementary disciplines, and often I find if a client is at the same time perhaps doing some NLP or doing some other kind of therapy, then they sometimes make a faster progression to where they want to go. But PKP of itself, it works on the acupuncture level with acupressure points. It works on the emotional, spiritual levels, works on looking at a whole lot of self things with our behaviour and thought patterns, nutrition, structural, really physical work on the muscles, as well as a whole lot of other dimensions. So it's multifaceted. It is not just one specific aspect of self-care. It's very holistic.